Ladies and gentlemen, Sonic 3 is out in theaters. And well, I watched it last night, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. Is it the best Sonic movie in the trilogy? Well, personally, I think we have to rank the trilogy. I know, it's only 3 movies, but I think every single one of them range from fairly solid to, hey, that was good. That I believe there should be some sort of ranking of which one is better and which one is worse. Starting with 3rd place, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But first, a message from our sponsor, FlexiSpot. Guys, I work from home. I'm sitting down most of the day, and the doctor told me that isn't a great thing to do, as it could lead to permanent back problems, among other health issues. That's where FlexiSpot comes in. FlexiSpot sent me a perfect standing desk that can go really high, and is also incredibly durable. It could carry my big-ass weight. And don't worry guys, let's say you want to use your chair again, well, just adjust the height, put your chair on over, and bam! May I recommend their ergonomic chair that has comfortable back support to make sure your lower back is kept healthy. The seat cushions for the C7 are really comfortable, the back support is brilliant, not to mention the adjustable headrest. I recommend the E7 Pro desk. It's seriously been beneficial for my work. When I'm standing, I feel like I'm able to lock in a little more when it comes to scripting, or even when I'm answering really important business emails, I feel like I'm focused more. My work ethic has improved, I'm not killing my back as much. With a 15-year warranty, there isn't a reason not to try it out. Be sure to use my code YTE730 for $30 off the E7 or E7 Pro, and also use the code C730 for $30 off the C7 chair. And thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. Okay, I like Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We have the introduction of Tails, Knuckles also gets thrown into the mix, Dr. Eggman flosses, which is a nice callback to the original, and where Sonic flosses, which makes me kind of sad because in the 3rd movie, no one flosses at all. You can really tell I have my priorities in order. There's a line that I often think about where just Knuckles talking about sprinkles just randomly appears in my head every now and then.
Sonic, I've just been told they have sprinkles.
The action scenes are fantastic. I think they really upped the ante from the first film. The only thing I really didn't care for from the 2nd film was the entire wedding fight scene. Something I tended to not care about when it came to the Sonic movies in general are the human characters. I mean, I guess Tom is fine as a, device to have Sonic care about someone here on planet Earth, but other than that, the only real interesting human character is Dr. Robotnik, which is fine, that's why you're watching a Sonic movie, albeit, I suppose I am watching the movies as well, for the GOAT, Wade Whipple. He's like the greatest person on planet Earth, and one of the funniest characters in the entire series, especially when we consider his small segment in Sonic 3, which is fairly consequential, but we'll get to that section later. Something of interesting note here is that Jim Carrey has stated multiple times before that he doesn't usually reprise roles. He only reprises roles for sequels if the script is really good, and that's telling here for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and also eventually Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Jim Carrey lives to be Dr. Robotnik. He's really the best part of this movie, and really the best part of all these movies. As mentioned before, the human characters, I would say even this far, the human character scenes in the 2nd film are pretty bad. One of the main things I remember from this movie, and it isn't a good thing, it's just how bad and unfunny the wedding scene is, and I keep going back to it, but it's really one of the key moments for me that made me just want to kind of leave the theater back then. It's also notable to state that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the longest film of the trilogy, clocking in at 2 hours and 2 minutes, and you could really feel the runtime. The first movie is an hour and a half, the 3rd one is an hour and 50 minutes. Why does the 2nd one have to be 2 hours? I have no idea. It's not a terrible film by any means, in fact it's fairly competent, especially as a movie for Sonic fans. Something that is funny about this movie is that this movie served as like a bookend to COVID-19. Let me explain. The first movie came out in February of 2020, right before the world shut down, while the 2nd film came out in April of 2022, as most of the restrictions were finally being lifted. Sonic was there before the world shut down, and Sonic was there to welcome the world back open. In 2nd place is Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is kind of incredible because it could have been a complete and utter disaster. For around 25 years, there were many attempts to try and create a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, whether it be animated or live action. As many of you may know, video game movies don't really have a good reputation for being, well, good. In 2019, the first trailer released for Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, and it received massive backlash, mostly due to Sonic the Hedgehog's design. Things got really bad. I mean, who could blame the fans who hated it? Sonic looked absolutely putrid. Here's the interesting thing though. The creators of Sonic the Hedgehog actually listened, as they wanted this movie to be a wide success as well. It's even more insane that they didn't just improve on Sonic's design and made him actually look like the video games, but they also improved the overall animation and expressions in the movie as well. The crunch time must have been insane, as the first trailer with the original Sonic design premiered in April of 2019, and the second trailer for the Sonic redesign released in November of 2019. Only 5 months came to pass to try and save Sonic. Now all of this could be fine and dandy, but the movie itself had to be at least solid as well. And well, the movie came out and the general consensus was, hey, it was fine. Actually like a solid 6 or 7 out of 10. The movie itself is fairly consistently funny. Some jokes don't land, but you know, those are a little more of the lowbrow jokes. Sonic farts.
Oh, come on.
Which is something I always hated. I never understood the appeal of making those fart jokes. They were never funny to me as a kid. I don't think even when they came to my friends who would watch movies like these made for us, that farting jokes ever really made us laugh. Was that just an executive thing? That they all went in some type of boardroom and were like, what if we made the iconic main character burp or farts? That would make everyone laugh, right? Jim Carrey carries this movie hard. There's a throwaway line about Dr. Robotnik being in the Afghanistan war. I forgot about that. That's interesting. Is there any appeal here beyond liking the video games? No, I could say that with full confidence. But hey, it made Sonic fans happy because the main story here is that the executives listened and tried their best to make the Sonic fans as happy as possible. All of this would be a formula for eventually Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is my first place pick for the best movie of the trilogy. Surprise, surprise. Jim Carrey is back in top form. Not only is this a fairly good entry in the Sonic franchise, but also the best movie Jim Carrey has been in for the past 15 years. And no, I'm not counting Mr. Popper's Penguins, because that movie sucks and you know it. Sonic's circle now includes his parents, Knuckles and Tails, but this time Sonic is facing off against Shadow the Hedgehog, who takes a lot of inspiration from the 2005 video game Sonic the Hedgehog, which is awesome because I loved that game as a kid. As far as performances go, the only ones genuinely worth mentioning are Jim Carrey and Ben Schwartz as Sonic the Hedgehog. Carrey pulls double duty in this installment, portraying the manic Robotnik alongside his grandfather, Gerald. Some scenes featuring the both of them are comedic highlights, especially a spontaneous dance number in a laser grid and a chaotic moment where Robotnik tackles his grandpa into a Christmas tree. These sequences rank among the funniest I've seen in a movie this year, even surrounded by 4 cartoon animals and a 5th teased in the post-credits scene. Carrey manages to out-cartoon them all, embracing the absurdity with infectious enthusiasm. And I think that's the thing about Sonic 3 that makes it so great, is that the entire concept is just absurd. It's Sonic the Hedgehog, it's the bizarre plot lines surrounding Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think this film embraces it the most and doesn't take it as seriously as before. This movie does that thing where there's a fake out of a death of a main character. The character doesn't actually die, it's just used as a crux to get Sonic super pissed so he can go epic at beast mode. And I think that's the general idea that I get from the Sonic movies, is that they're fun movies if you're familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog, have been a fan of him since you were a kid, or even played a couple games. All the while, I think it's an excuse to see Jim Carrey at some of his best in the entirety of his career. He's a really great comic actor, and he truly is a master at every single scene he's in this movie. In that regard, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is the best film in the entire trilogy, and it's not even close. I've been Zeep, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.